promises and songs of yesterday, and I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go again. Here I go again. Though I keep searching for an answer, never seem to find what I'm looking for. Lord, I pray you give me strength to carry on, 'cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone, and I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. I'm just another heart in need of rescue, waiting on love's sweet charity. And I'm gonna hold on for the rest of my days, 'cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone, and I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time, but here I go again. Here I go again. Here I go again. Here I go. Cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone, and I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known. Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone, 'cause I know what it means to walk along the lonely street of dreams. And here I go again on my own, going down the only road I've ever known.
Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way. Don't ask for all your things back, cussing out my name, yeah, just to go and take back what you say. Burn all the bridges, don't ask forgiveness, walk away like I'm someone you hate. Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way.
If it's over, so fuck it. Just don't act like my love wasn't nothing. Like I wasn't the one you was holding that night, telling all of your secrets and hugging. Guess you right, it's too good to be true. Was a point, all I needed was you. But shit, time after time, I just fussing and fighting. It's time that you do what you do. And it's cool. Mama said it was fish in the sea, I got lost in the pool. Knew it was coming, I watched how you move, how you turn your back on me and leave me to lose. Remember the text, how you said that you do. Said that you'll never leave, we would fight till it's due. But as it went on, I was fighting for you. Since the text turned green, why the fuck it ain't blue? Guess you done and I get it. Said you stay and you wanted my name and you left, so I'm guessing that you never meant it. Said you try and hold on cause the love was so strong, now I'm standing alone in this kitchen. Singing sad songs, but I'm knowing that this shit don't last long. If you leaving, then leave cause your bag's gone. But just know you can never come back home.
Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way. Don't ask for all your things back, cussing out my name, yeah, just to go and take back what you say. Burn all the bridges, don't ask forgiveness. Walk away like I'm someone you hate. Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way.
If you say that you done, ain't no take back. Said you fell out of love and I hate that. But see me, I was stuck like a drug, really feeling for love, and somehow I can't shake back. When you walked out that door, I was hurting. All the dreams in my head, you was perfect. You remember the very first time that we chilled and I reached for your hand where the nerves at. Time to pass, but shit, that's what it do. It be times I be sick sitting thinking about you. It was death do us part. You gave me the blue, really played with my heart. Left me lost and confused, like this shit was fair game. But you made it the rules. On my heart, left a scar and a bruise. Hope that you can stand on all the shit that you did. I'm done, y'all finally through.
Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way. Don't ask for all your things back, cussing out my name, yeah, just to go and take back what you say. Burn all the bridges, don't ask forgiveness. Walk away like I'm someone you hate. Don't let me down easy. If you're gonna leave me, baby, go and leave me all the way.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just stuck? I went to a shrink to analyze my dreams. She says it's like a sex that's bringing me down. I went to a whore. He said my life's a bore. Choke with my white cause it's bringing her down. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Grasping to control, so I better hold on. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me. It all keeps adding up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Like I said.
Most people walk into buildings, but this is something else.
Strategic minds, founding innovations. This is where futures are drafted. Even play here rewrites the rules.
Because truth deserves a stage like this.
When minds meet here, decisions don't echo, they ripple.
Some places are built to host moments. SVIP is built to spark movements. You ready to step in? Join SVIP today.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is Friday, and I'm super excited to be back here on SVIP Live. It's been probably a couple weeks since I've gone live, but obviously some recent changes have taken into consideration. I am now running SVIP full time, so I'm extremely blessed, number one, to be in the position to run the company full time, but number two, to obviously share some exciting updates about the company moving forward. You just saw right in that introduction video an experience center that I am personally investing in here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to really showcase the industry's best manufacturers, technology, solutions, and innovation. But number two, allow the end-user community of SVIP to have full autonomous engagement with those kind of manufacturers. So that Experience Center is launching in 2026. If you want more information about that Experience Center, there's a QR code shown here on the screen. You can also DM me directly on LinkedIn, as well as send me an email at taylor@svip.news. But the purpose of today's discussion is we are back on SVIP Live with another end-user round table, and I've got quite the panel today. It's actually the largest panel I think I've had on SVIP Live, but we're highlighting K through 12. And before I introduce these awesome guests, I think it's important to mention that we are back in school, back in the swing of things with school. Obviously, some things here in Texas have changed, some things around the country have changed, but I feel like school safety and security is always under-resourced and undervalued, and we need proactive leaders in this arena to really make our kiddos and teachers and staff safe. And so I've got some incredible guests that are on this discussion today. We've got some more people that are tuning in, so I'm going to get these two other panels here. But first and foremost, I want to introduce our guest. If you have a question, please drop it in the chat. I will pin and highlight your question for these guests on this discussion. But first and foremost, we've got Ron Self representing the state of Arkansas. He's with Baldwin Shell Construction. So Ron, welcome to SVIP Live, my friend. Then we've got my man Daryl representing also here in Texas. He's representing Corpus Christi ISD Director of Security, my man over there, Daryl. And then the lovely Amanda Lanachek, Springtown ISD Chief Technology Officer. Amanda, how are you, my dear?
Doing well.
Chief Stout of Putnam City Schools in Oklahoma. I love Chief to death. Other than that, he's a Sooner. Go Pokes in this discussion. But Chief, welcome to the live, my friend.
Thank you.
And then last but not least, we've got Chief Francis. I don't know if Chief Francis can see his pretty face today, but Chief, are you there, my friend? Or maybe not. But Chief Francis is the chief for Seminole County Sheriff's Office in Seminole County, Florida. So we've got Florida, we've got Arkansas, we've got Oklahoma, and of course Texas represented on this call. So I think this is a great discussion, number one. But I kind of want to just kind of kick off this discussion with, obviously we're a month back into school, back in the swing of things. Is there anything that has surprised you so far going back in the swing of things when it comes to safety and security? Or is it just same old every single day? Who wants to take that question first?
Well, we haven't noticed any differences, changes on our end. You know, the hardest challenge was opening up 2 middle schools this year and getting that situated. But even with the cell phone ban on the campuses where the kids have to put their cell phones away, it actually went smoother than we thought it would go. So, but other than that, there's been no major changes on our end.
Amanda, what about you? I mean, obviously Corpus Christi is a pretty large district. What are you seeing at Springtown?
So with the cell phone ban it's gone pretty well. high school was obviously going to be the issue. If anyone was going to be the issue, we chose to just do out of sight, out of mind. We didn't go with the bags and all of that, and it's gone pretty well. Those that are going to abuse it are going to abuse it, and they face discipline consequences. But other than that, it's gone well. We installed a new security system, new camera system, and access control over the summer that has bled into the start of school. So that has been a lot of my focus, and it hasn't gone as well as expected. Won't name any vendor names, but we've had all kinds of server issues. Thought we were, that we had recorded content, and then an incident happened. We needed to grab recording, and when the cameras weren't recording, and so it's been a very fun, interesting start of school.
That is interesting. Chief Stout, what are you seeing? I know you've got a school, a phone ban in Oklahoma, and you've had that for a while. So walk me through that kind of process.
So yeah, we started phone bans at the start of the school year also, across the state. We kind of the same, similar. It hasn't been as bad as we thought it was going to be. We chose, just like Amanda was talking about, at our high school level. The kids can have them, but they're out of sight. They're not allowed to have them out bell to bell, from the morning bell to the afternoon bell, and so they're not allowed out during lunch times or passing periods or anything like that. And it's actually worked out better. We are already seeing reports of a marked difference in behavior, and so we feel pretty good about that. So that's been our biggest challenge this year. We're in the middle of upgrading a lot of things and installing some new technology on weapon detection that we can talk about later. But start of the year's been pretty normal and pretty good, and we're pleasantly surprised that the cell phone ban is gone as well as it has.
Well, personally, I wish I had ChatGPT when I was in school, because all the advantages and information you can get instantaneously with ChatGPT is pretty incredible. But Ron, in Arkansas, man, what are you seeing as far as any kind of changes or surprises so far in that state with what schools that you work with?
No, I mean, I'll say the same thing that we're still seeing. They're saying that it's not as near as bad as what they thought it would be with the cell phone ban as far as the statewide go. I'll say from my standpoint, until we get to a point where we completely ban them from campuses, period, I don't think you're going to see an issue. I think kids have too many workarounds. I've talked to kids that are being able to get around the system and being able to do things. And so I think that until we ever go to a full ban, then you're not going to see a lot of issues.
I think a lot of our problems, well, not a lot of our problems, but I think we had more problems with parents than we had with the children.
Mm-hmm.
But it still went well.
I mean, we had that conversation. I mean, we had a conversation earlier about different times at schools, right? And so when I was in school, there was a payphone. So if you wanted to get all your parents, not only did they make you use a payphone, they were making money off of you as well. So we existed in a world that that without cell phones, and I hear parents all the times, and I've had this discussion numerous times with people saying, well, what if there's an active shooter? And I promise you, your kid's cell phone is not going to change the outcome of any of that, right? And so the parents and the staff have plenty of ways to notify law enforcement. There's so many wearable panic solutions and panic buttons and cell phones at work. And if you've ever been in an actual situation or an actual major incident, the likelihood of your cell phone working correctly is probably not high anyways, because the lines get jammed. So it's a moot point. It really is.
And a lot of times those phones get jammed because students are texting out to social media and everything else like that. I mean, when we had swatting at our schools, it was terrible. Because we had parents just bum rushing the school, along with the police and everybody else when we had that issue. And the social media thing with the kids just made it a whole lot worse.
Well, speaking of swatting, we have an expert on the line in the digital kind of cybersecurity space. My man, Christopher Carr out of Fort Bend ISD. Chris, obviously huge district down there in Houston, and obviously we've spoken about that countless times, but maybe you can hit on swatting a little bit.
Yeah, thanks for the intro that I'm the expert on swatting. Hopefully that doesn't stick. No, we we everybody echoing what everybody is saying. I think the back pressure, especially for the mobile devices and all the other stuff, is um, we don't have enough funding, as school districts generally don't, and so a lot of times we have leveraged or have needed to leverage the technology that's brought in, but it's also a distraction. And one of the interesting things is, as security becomes harder and harder to maintain, especially identity, the pressure has been more and more to move our students to some sort of multi-factor authentication. And so by now taking away the one possible avenue we had, it was always going to be a case of the digital divide of, can you really enforce that with students, knowing that every student doesn't have a device? But when 90% or so were coming with a device, and now we're saying you can't use it at all, that's kind of taken us backwards in that regard. So I thought that's been an interesting. It's maybe just the tech side of us thinking about it, not necessarily a school and a life safety concern, as you guys were mentioning. But yeah, in terms of swatting, we haven't had that level of concern, or at least that I've been involved with in that regard. We would have the digital version, of course, which is the concerns always that our kiddos were going to call in network strikes, denial of service, and distributed denial of service attacks to get out of testing and other types of stuff. So less in regards to the kind of physical swatting that occurs, that I'm sure possibly does occur, with our students, but isn't going to get reported back to us unless we're involved in some way, shape, or form. Because a lot of times it's gaming or it's other types of activities where they're more or less private citizens and not students while they're engaging in bad behavior off our campus. But we watch for all the technology stuff, and just to echo the other point that was made, as we this school year taking away the digital devices that they have in their pockets that are fully configured. Um, they've been pushing more and more to break our stuff. And so while we've always had the issues with them trying to work around our security controls, it's really ramping up into high gear this year, even more so. The spread of bypasses, hacks, various software that the kiddos are finding. And it is an arms race. It's we're working 8 to 5, and these kids have 24/7 to try to work around our controls. So scary stuff, and we're trying the education part of it. But yeah, we're certainly playing again, very much defense on that.
Is it safe to say, maybe this is just an assumption, but I want to throw this out at all y'all. Is it safe to say that the general consensus when it comes to the biggest safety and security threat today is internal? It is students that are looking to cause harm to themselves or other individuals, or is it external with keeping the perimeter safe and an intrusion safe? I mean, what are y'all seeing in your respective school districts?
On our end, I mean, it's still the human error. Well, the issues we have are with students opening the doors, primarily in a high school, maybe a middle school setting. For other people that are walking in, they come up to the door and the kid thinks he's being nice by opening the door, and he breaches our perimeter. So that's one of our biggest problems. The other one is teachers or staff when they come in through an access control point, not making sure that door shuts behind them. So the teachers, we just preach that y'all have to have, or they have to have more situational awareness. When you're coming in through that door, air conditioned pressure could pretty much keep that door from locking 100%. And when I do my audits, that's a lot of what I find out there. So a lot of it can be the human element, not so much the security. I mean, we can make the place a fortress, but if the person inside doesn't respect it, then
Right.
we're gonna get breached.
Yeah, same for us, but it's the digital version as well, right? This is why we are so worried what our kids are downloading and installing, and we're letting them know, hey, if you're getting that game for free and it costs money everywhere else, it's probably coming with things that you're not expecting, malware and other things. And so we think about the insider threat, as I often talk to folks about, that K-12, you have way more insider threats than you do in any corporate organization, because these are the kiddos that are trying to break out, right? And so if they can successfully punch holes in our perimeter, very much the same as leaving a door propped open or other types of things, if they're doing so digitally, then that provides a path for the attackers and the bad guys, to come back in. So, it is. I couldn't give you a percentage, Taylor, but it's both. We're definitely still always worried about the attacks from the outside, the Uvalde just went through, obviously they've had their terrible run with Robb Elementary, and now they've had a cyber incident that they've had to deal with. So the reality is that we all know that this is what happens, and that we're kind of low hanging fruit for criminals. And so, again, we try to make ourselves as hard of a target as possible, and it doesn't help if our kiddos are just trying to get to TikTok and they're punching any and every hole they can into our perimeter defenses to get there, not realizing what they might be letting back in.
And to add to that, the challenge is also with technology, making sure that the technology doesn't tighten it down so much that it circumvents our security. Because a lot of our security is network based. Our cameras are network based, our access control, and then all of a sudden we're offline. Well, why are we offline? Well, they made a change with the network, which caused it to shut it down. So that's kind of a challenge, but it's something that's workable.
It's internal, Taylor. For the most part, is the problem that we see with schools is if everybody internally did what they were supposed to do, then we wouldn't have an external problem. It's an issue with culture. It's still an issue in our schools to where teachers don't believe and Daryl hit on it there that they don't believe that they need to lock doors, that they need to shut doors, that they don't need to prop doors. It's still fighting the A, B, and C when everybody's worried about the X, Y, and Z, right? So it's getting the basics done and getting it completed, and then those internal threats eventually become external threats, right? So I think that it's if we could get ourselves straight and everything inside the school straight and get everybody to do what they're supposed to do, then we would see a lot less on the physical side. And I'm talking about physical security, not digital security, because that's probably way over my head. But on the physical side, I think it's internal.
Ron, I think it's the same though with digital. Same for us. If staff and students did what they were supposed to do and didn't try to circumvent the system like Chris was talking about, then internal wouldn't be an issue. Where we have the same exact problem, Chris. We're all Chromebooks though for our students, so at least they don't download stuff on them as much. But same thing, they're always trying to get around content filters, and they just want to play Roblox or look at terrible things they shouldn't be looking at.
And a lot of times it's fun for them. It's
Yes.
an experiment to try and circumvent our system. So we've actually at a point had some of those students be interns.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And show us how they were able to do it. And they volunteered and did it. And it was great. It was a great session that we had with them.
White hat hackers. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chris and I have said this for years, using, cyber patriots, right? Chris, we talk about that a lot, and Chief Francis, who's on the line from Seminole County, he says the same thing about building that culture. And I think both on the physical and cyber side, again, if it comes down to the human error or the human mistake, I mean, there's no technology or solution that will solve that. It's just really just, creating that culture and community feeling inside of a school for both teachers and staff, as well as SROs, to create that kind of safety mentality and openness, right? Because I think that's the other thing too, is some people just keep to themselves, but if they see something, say something. We said that for years. Why not share something that looks suspicious? Why not vocalize something that could do harm to others? So that comes out of that culture piece that I think Chief Francis, you said for years. Man, I don't know if your audio is working, Chief, but I did want to point to you real quick if you can say a couple words.
Yeah, 3 devices. Sorry, I'm traveling, and neither of them, my camera's working, so I'm not sure what the deal is. But I think it's been well said. But when you talk about threats, it is 100% coming from within, with very, very few exceptions. But it gets down to that culture and climate. If they feel connected to that school, have a way to, connected to a responsible adult, I think it really helps our safety and security overall climate. And at the end of the day, our job is to make sure that these guys have the tools to report suspicious and concerning behavior to the right responsible adults, and then for us to take action, do something about it.
Love that.
We've
ahead.
implemented as board policy. If it can be locked, lock it. So if we come and find a door, then you kind of get in trouble. It's no different than wearing your ID. If you don't choose to wear your ID at school, well, then go home. So, these are the things where we're constantly trying to get on and teach them. It's getting better. Don't get me wrong, but we still have that human element.
I would agree. We've been working on that same thing that Daryl's talking about. Uh, our directives, school policy, directives from the superintendent, classes in session, classroom doors locked. And we've been doing that for several years now, and it's building as we go on. Are there going to be mistakes? Yes. We're fortunate that we've had the funds to all exterior doors of all of 27 of our school sites are door monitored at all times during the school day. And can, if they're open for a certain length of time, they will set off an alarm either within the school or within our SOC that we run here at the campus police. And so, but back to the cyber parts that we're talking about, that obviously, someone mentioned it earlier. Social media is the or the bane of society. And causes more problems within our schools than any other issue can bring it up as far as disciplinary issues, violent events. 95% of them are caused by social media in the research we've done. We are, as Amanda said, their Chromebooks were 100% iPad. Every student has an iPad in all 20,000 students have an iPad assigned to them. High school kids get to take them home. But they're even regulated. We don't regulate what activity they do at home, but they come back onto school property and they've used it inappropriately at home, then the system will alert our IT people, and then they take action through that. Again, we're fortunate we've had the funding for our district that by this time next year, we're going to be on our own fiber. They are running we're not going to be dependent on any of the commercial fiber systems. The entire 43 square mile school district, we will be on our own fiber within our own system. And again, just another step that we can try. I am sure Chris will agree that even with that, they will fight to work to get into the district. And chances are they probably will at some point, or at least try to intrude or to break into the district. Not only the kids, but outside influences. But then I agree with Chief Francis that the internal threat, or the kids, what we have inside the school is more of a threat than exterior people coming in. That could happen, but we focus on our kids coming into the school every day and what we can do to mitigate that process. One thing that you mentioned, Taylor, see something, say something. Our campaign this year, we've been campaigning see something, say something for many years. We've added see something, say something, do something.
Do something, yeah.
And so we've added that this year as our campaign with the students, and
Awesome.
we're hoping that we have some effect by that. So.
Well, there's a cause and effect relationship regardless of how you put safety and security into the focus for school safety. I mean, obviously, you have issues internally, then you've got issues with retention of talent with school teachers, counselors, principals, etc. Right? It's a lasting effect. So going back to that climate piece, that culture piece is obviously evidential to keep retention high. We've got our first question in, obviously an easy question, and probably an easy question for all y'all. But if cost was not a factor, I love this question. If there is a technology you wish you could use or deploy, what would it be? So if money was not into the equation, you had all the money in the world, open checkbook, what are we deploying, folks?
I would access control every single door on every single campus. So we had 8 campuses that were fully access controlled, every single door, and it was the greatest thing in the world. So if I could go back and retro that, we had panic button systems and panic alarm systems, so that wasn't a cost issue for us, but that cost for access controlling every single door, classroom doors and all.
The basics, right?
I would second that, Ron. Same for us. Especially classroom doors, because we have so many older buildings that there's so many keys walking around, and there's no way the secretaries are keeping up with those keys and who has keys to what. They try their best, but I would want to take up all hard keys and have access control on every single door.
We got a taste of it, and it was great. I'm telling you, it was just great on those 8 campuses. You're talking about one of those campuses was 3,000 students, so it was a very large campus. It was just awesome not having to deal with all
Yeah.
the kids.
I would agree. Uh, we have a lot of cameras spread across our district, or up to close to 2,000 cameras that we're monitoring, and access control, about 500 access control points. But if I could put access control on every door, um, it would be amazing. Just like Ron was saying, it would be an incredible security feature, because right now, one of our greatest assets is being able to see who is coming and going through a door. And monitoring that in real time, and seeing as someone actually reads their card on a door, would be fantastic. Cameras are great, but I think access control takes a lead over cameras, but you can always tie access control or cameras to an access control, but but it's there's a lot of technology out there. I know we're going to talk about weapon detection later on, but right now I would agree with Ron about access control.
You guys know what you guys are doing right now. Just to be clear, you guys are just inviting all the access control manufacturers to hit you up right now because they're tuning in. They're like, "Oh,
Oh,
access
they already do
control."
anyway. So
Guess what? We have no money.
That's the part. That's the part
Right.
you got to remember. This is if you had plenty of money.
Yeah.
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 I think what we're inviting is the philanthropists
Yeah.
right now, right? Where the people with
Donate
deep
money.
pockets who
Yeah.
say, "Oh,
Yeah, the big
Um,
problem with building our campuses and building our new campuses was trying to figure out how to maintain the doors for the classrooms without utilizing the access control points. So we went with storeroom locks on every door. So when we engineer a new school, all our classrooms are designed with store lock doors, which means that they're always locked. The teachers don't have to go out and lock the door, so on and so forth. On my end, I'm thinking facial recognition and gunshot detection and our weapon detection. So we've already started implementing the facial recognition. I'm doing testing right now. And the primary reason is that, now we have gang members that are older and have kids. So we have opposing gang members knowing that they're going to pick up their children at a school. And this has already happened. And either try to breach the school or wait till that person gets out. And we've had that instance where the dad got stabbed and the kids had to run away. So knowing that we had something like that would have helped with that case. Knowing that, if we had some type of facial recognition in our schools to help with band parents, gang members, things of that nature, would have helped us in certain events like that. So that is what I'm working on right now. And also putting mics in the cameras that are in vestibules, so we can determine, what is about to transpire in a vestibule for aggravation, aggravated parents, whatever the case might be. So if I had unlimited budget, that's where I would invest a lot of it in.
I want to hear Chief and Chris your comments next, but that's an interesting point, Daryl, because I wish Kip was on the line. Kip Robbins, when I met Kip Robbins, he was the director of technology for Santa Fe ISD back when the shooting happened, and one of the first things that Kip put in place was facial recognition software, which, by the way, I sold him that back in like 2019, 2018. But to your point, I mean, that weapon detection wasn't out yet. Gunshot really wasn't out or working well yet. So that's facial recognition was the hottest thing on the market for that exact use case that Daryl's describing, as well as band students and obviously disgruntled parents, etc. So that's interesting point there. Chief Francis, what about you at Seminole County? If funds were unlimited, what are we putting in place?
Listen, if I'm swinging for this fence, I'm going, a complete AI-driven ecosystem that handles everything from your front-end access control, cameras, video management, weapons detection. I mean, you name it, everything. Unfortunately, I like the facial recognition, but it's against Florida law, so we're not able to do that even with a threat. But we're fortunate we have most everything in Florida that I have as far as technology being covered by the state now, but with exception of weapon detection. So that's really the only significant piece of technology that's not being covered, either full or partially by the state. So I'm looking for that ecosystem that handles it all under one umbrella.
Yeah, I think agentic AI is something that's been talked about now a lot. Is being able to type in anything like a ChatGPT and it spits out an algorithm that allows you to detect anything. So agentic AI is new and upcoming. I think that's going to help with some use cases. But again, AI is only as good as it's trained and seen in a real world environment, but obviously not a replacement by any means. Which I know everyone knows that. But Chris, what about you, man? Unlimited funds. What are we doing?
Oh, I've got a big laundry list, and but no, I was just chuckling, thinking you guys have reinvented band parent, but now BANNED, not BAND parent. So thought you'll have to go ahead and update your transcript so band parents, the
right.
ones that chase their kids with instruments, don't get mad. But
That's right.
that being said, just because I'm old school like that, no, I guess on the physical side, I would echo a lot of those things. Although we're always leery to speak specifics on open channel, right? Of our physical security and where we might be lacking. But I can tell you, at least on the data side, it's really being able to log and being able to have user behavior analytics type of stuff. We know we're going to be really still continuing to struggle with access control at the individual level because of our student population. And so being able to have more sophisticated systems, and again, they could be AI, driven as well. But really, we've been looking for years at the user behavior analytics stuff so that we can look for the oddities, especially within our student population. We can look for weird behavior with teacher accounts, because again, once an account is compromised, usually you're going to see that in the behaviors. You're going to see problems like that first and foremost. And so it's pretty expensive because you got to store that data. You got to have ways to analyze that data. But again, instead of waiting until something bad happens and then going backwards and seeing where you might have picked up on it, having that kind of technology would help us be a bit more proactive and less reactive.
And we started something similar to that, if I got you right, as far as all our students have their own CCISD type email address. And a lot of times we can monitor that, and there are certain keywords that we can monitor, especially even on social media, if it's not private, that can help us to determine if a child is to a point where they could harm themselves or harm someone else, so on and so forth. And that's helped our district quite a bit as well.
Yeah, and we're going to be rolling that out this year. We've enhanced our filter technology, and we have those kind of pieces where they'll look for, harm to self, harm to others, and that kind of stuff. We've always been kind of keywording, checking all of their content within our ecosystem. Getting stuff outside has been hit or miss. We played with some of those technologies where you get too many false positives in some cases when you're scraping the socials, looking for problems in that regard. But no, this is really more of what I'm talking about is you can detect those things, but this is really more of those, hey, this account's being used at odd times. We've had problems where students have compromised teacher accounts to change grades, do other things. And a lot of times what we were discovering was we could have detected that with these types of technologies, because we would have seen logging in from unusual IP addresses. You may have some of this already built in. I mean, Google does, Microsoft does, these kind of conditional access controls where you can look for impossible travel and other things. And these are all in the same realm of user behavior analytics. So something is odd here. This person is now suddenly trying to log in from Tennessee, and 5 minutes ago they were somewhere in Texas, right? But even beyond that, you're looking for those other little subtle cues that are they sharing files? Are they accessing files they normally don't? Are they using systems that they don't normally connect to? Are they accessing systems at times they don't normally? So those are all a lot of things where you got to build those baselines. It's a lot of data. It's a lot of processing. And then you got to be able to look for what's odd and then decide, is this worth action? So
we have a product that does something very similar to what you're talking about, Chris. Like if an app is downloaded, it immediately revokes access. If they log in from an IP that's an unknown IP or out of United States, it immediately revokes their Google account access. Or for our students love VPNs, and so it shows they're logging in from Japan and all these different places. It immediately suspends their account, so they have to next day come into school and change their password and all that stuff, which has limited them using VPNs because the hassle of being completely locked out of their account and not being able to use their Chromebook. So that's been
Right.
beneficial.
Yeah, and we geofence. We do a lot of that lockdown in the we're a Microsoft shop, and we do a lot of that as well. And it drives them nuts occasionally when the parents will say, "Well, we pandemic was bad because pandemic got everybody used to the idea that your kid could go with you wherever and they could keep doing work remotely."
Right.
And so we had a lot of that post-pandemic, and even it's kind of faded off a little bit in the past year, but really there was a lot of that where suddenly we were having parents complain the kiddo they're in a foreign country and they can't log in and get their school assignments. And we're like, you're not supposed to be taking our devices out of the country. And you're certainly not supposed to be accessing from not in the US. So yeah, we have a lot of those, but again, our problems have really been around those round scopes. We're even finding the criminals were using the accounts and relaying through VPN, doing things to defeat some of the base level security we have. So it's really getting to that next step of, is this really odd behavior now and not necessarily just violating a
Yeah.
big rule, so to speak?
So I like that question, and I'm just gonna do this plug real quick. If funding was unlimited, what we do at SVIP is we actually donate to under-resourced end users that need safety and security. In fact, we actually donated to a church in Florida. Chief knows about this, Chief Francis, and they had analog cameras. We hooked them up with IP cameras and new cabling, etc. And that was a donation on SVIP's behalf. So all the more reason, folks who are listening in, to subscribe to SVIP, because we are a charitable organization, and especially for schools, man. Like I think it's the one thing that manufacturers should do better in this industry is they make so much money, at least the good ones do. And why not take a portion of revenue and donate, cameras or access control or just the basics that Ron likes to talk about all the time, especially for school districts, right? So there's my soapbox story for the second. But I've got a couple more questions, and I do want to hit on weapon detection because I know that's a hot commodity. But this question comes from Dacia's Facilities Management. Amanda, this is actually for Amanda. Amanda, you mentioned you have a new access control system deployed at your facility. Is there anything you wish you know before committing to that specific system?
No, we definitely looked at multiple systems. Our access control has been fantastic. The only issue we've had is that the camera server I talked about in the beginning, but our access control has been great. I wish that if you follow me on LinkedIn, you know that it's me and I have 5 repair technicians. So I wish that I have someone that can maintain that all the time. That would be fantastic. But other than that, no, there's nothing that I wish I knew before, because the vendor that we worked with has been great. Any questions I have, they immediately answer, and all of our access control has worked out very well.
Access control is a hot question. Second question here comes from Sean Stevens. Since access control would be your product of choice, would you have physical or virtual BLE credentials, Bluetooth credentials? Who wants to take
I'll
that?
bite on that one. So we had, I had access control 13 years ago. So we were in the process of moving it all over. And when we moved it all over, we stayed with physical. Then within the last 3 years, we began transforming everything over to that digital piece, to where we could utilize phones, as well as, various other things. And I'll even comment there on Daryl's facial recognition. If you've ever played with facial recognition access control, it's some really cool stuff, really cool tech. I don't think that folks here in Arkansas are quite ready for that yet, but it is some cool tech, and I played with it, and it works really well. My suggestion is to implement the virtual but the phone piece. That way you can do both. You can use the physical or the phone, because it exists that way.
I'm on the fence on that too. I mean, it's one thing that I need to do is upgrade our access control system. I mean, it works fine. It's just I wish it was easier to program. I mean, some of these access control systems do so much, and so we're a small group. We take care of security and fire, and I'm talking about anything that has to do with security on the physical aspect, and so it's tough to analyze and check the needs of that, because we have to make sure. I mean, we got 3,000 plus employees, so that's 3,000 plus access control cards out there, and we've got to be able to make sure that all these people have the access to the right places, because we can't give them access to everything. I don't want teachers going into our IDF and MDF rooms, because they tend to use it as a storage, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, that's one thing that we've got to think about. And transitioning over, trying to figure out if we want to go sell or if we want to continue with procs. And if we go procs, we have to be corporate 1000 because we don't want duplicate IDs out there.
Yep.
There's just so much you kind of need to think about when moving forward with that, especially with access control on your doors, because now you have to worry about battery replacement. So that's the other thing I had to start thinking about. And then so there's so many different things that you can think of on access control. And it on the perfect system, it would work really, really well. And we're close to that, but I just wish it was easier to program.
We're about the same size as you are there with about 3,000 employees. And with the way I looked at it is it was much easier for me to revoke that phone access and much easier to give them that access than it was with now here's the deal. Not everybody wanted it. That's why I said we kept both.
Yeah.
We didn't, because some people are still in that, oh, you're tracking my phone thing.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Like we've got nothing better to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Phone, right?
But wait, Ron, isn't a school like a public entity anyway? We walk the kids and teachers. There's cameras everywhere. So why does
but they're talking about
but once you leave the school,
yeah.
It's their private phone.
Right.
We've run into that with emergency alert systems.
Yeah.
I can't order a teacher to put anything on their private phone.
That's why we moved over to
so no matter what they use. So we've done the same thing with, as Ron was saying, is we are in the process, all of our access control hardware, we're not upgrading our systems. We're very happy with our access control camera system, alarm system. We use Genetec and it runs everything, all of those combined. And so we're happy with that. So, but our hardware is outdated. So as we upgrade, there's products out there that will do both Bluetooth and access card, the different kind of readers from HID and things like that. So we're going to move as we're upgrading over the next. We just did a bond election last year. I got $2.5 million out of that for upgrades on access control and cameras and several other projects. But but that's our plan, is to move to kind of a hybrid card and Bluetooth system as we move forward.
Yeah.
My biggest recommendation there is if you can't fire them, don't hire them. So what I mean by that is don't buy anything that is proprietary. And that's what I run into so many schools who've made that decision over the years, and they're just stuck, and it's terrible.
And the one thing the one thing you need to watch out for as well is that a lot of these companies, you pay your annual license fee, and this goes with cameras as well. If there's an instant that you can't pay that for that year, which can be tens of thousands of dollars, then you lose your systems and they lock you out. So don't ever get into that situation as well. I've had companies 100% on that, making sure that doesn't happen to our district.
Open versus proprietary is always a hot topic in the industry, and obviously, to your point, Daryl, Ron, Chief, the companies that do require a SaaS license, a part of their offering, you have to read between the lines and say, hey, does this camera or this access control, is there an annual license per device that comes with that? And obviously, you need to do your homework, because to your point, Joe, you're right. There are companies out there that kind of are proprietary, and I'm not trying to disparage proprietary systems, because I think some of the systems are pretty good. They have probably some unique advantages, but you're right. You can be locked in if you don't do your homework and you don't have the funds to obviously renew that. So that's a good point. All right, so we got about 15-ish minutes left. We got some good questions, really good engagement. Weapon detection's hot. I know everyone talks about active shooter situations, mental health challenges. Ron, you and I have talked about weapon detection for a lot. Chief Francis and Chief Stout, we talk about weapon detection a lot. I don't have to pinpoint any particular technology or manufacturer. Obviously, there's two different flavors, right? We've got visible weapon detection with AI software. Then we've got concealed weapon detection with like the metal. I say metal detector. People get mad when I say metal detector. But essentially, you're walking through a damn screen, whether or not to see if you're carrying concealed. So I guess twofold question. Do we need both? Do we need one? What are y'all seeing? What are y'all using? I mean, walk me through some of that.
I'll take that on first, I guess. So we do both. We currently have all of our middle school and high school students go through weapon detection, active weapon detection, as they enter the school every day. and then they come through certain doors, and then the rest of the building's locked down for the day. We also have Zero Eyes deployed within our district. If you're familiar with that, that is using your existing cameras as a weapon detection system that's very accurate. And if it will pick up someone from actually pretty far away, if they're carrying a gun, walking towards your building or walking down the hall of your building or whatever it might be, it uses AI to recognize that gun. Then it goes to a monitoring station where it is checked in person. And we usually, and the normal response time is 3 to 6 seconds from the time the gun's detected by the AI, that we get a response back to our cell phones and to our SOC and to different people in the district, all of our school officers and so forth. We also have another layer. We tried to build our weapon detection in layers. We have some cameras that are specifically have their own onboard AI for weapon detection, and then it goes to a cloud-based verification. Again, usually within 3 to 6 seconds, we have an answer or a response of whether it's a real weapon or if it's a RJROTC people walking down the hall with their marching fake weapons. So we're doing both. We feel like we're being, knock on wood, being successful. But we've had things get by. Someone earlier, I think it was Daryl, mentioned the human element. We've had active weapon detection, kids walk through weapon detection. We've had some things missed. And we had a student walk in very closely behind another student, not on purpose, but just because it was a cold day. Teachers, the staff working, principals and things working the weapon detection, the alert went off and they went with the first student. The second student, it alerted on him in a microsecond change, but they focused on the first student. Second student had a loaded SIG 45 and had it through for almost 30-40 minutes before he took it out in the bathroom at a school and shot it at a wall in the bathroom. Fortunately, it was a porcelain wall bathroom and it shattered the bullet, and he dropped the gun because it scared him so bad it never fired again in his life. But the point being is that gun got through. So my opinion is we should build layers so that there's always something that might help. You're not going to catch 100%. Nothing is 100% on weapon detection. But there's always, we just keep building layers to try to combat that. So.
And I agree with you. Things like that are going to happen. They happen, I think, in any district.
Yes.
And, our first line of defense is fencing. So we built fencing all over, and it's TEA in Texas is pretty strict on the things that we need to do, to the point where the drills, I think, are a bit much, but it is what it is. And that's what, we start with the fencing, we start with the access, and we have the access control, we have the cameras that do the weapons detection, 2 different types of weapons detection. And but we can only do so much with the funds that we get. Remember, when we get grant funds, those are 1T funds. So you don't know if you're going to get them the next year, and then who's going to pay for the licensing for all of those the weapons detection licensing. It's not cheap. So there's a lot involved with that. As far as metal detectors, we have an extremely portable metal detector. We actually have 4 of them that we'll deploy like we do our drug dogs. There'll be a surprise visit at certain schools, and we kind of rotate around that way for now because of the cost. And if we put the regular metal detectors up, we get a lot of flack from parents about,
of course,
our schools look like prison, and I completely understand that. So the metal detectors that we utilize look nothing like a standard metal detector or anything like that.
Right.
Because it can be difficult when you're using a high school. When you're talking about a high school and trying to get kids through metal detectors, if it's not that $190,000 metal detector that they've got out there, it could be a challenge. It could be a challenge to get all the kids into school on time. But yeah, I agree with Chief Stout. got to keep layers. You got to keep those layers up and do the best you can and get that human element to understand that the necessity of making sure that they're utilizing situational awareness and shutting doors behind them and keeping a good eye out of what's going on around their campus.
So we ran 43 units, weapons detection systems. We didn't have the expensive one. We had one of the lower priced ones, but it was still a weapons detection unit. Which let me correct that real quick, because I can make a weapons detection unit a metal detector quick just by adjusting some settings. So it's essentially a metal detector with less sensitive settings. When we were running at 2 schools with almost 3,000 students, and after 5 days, never had a student late because of the weapons detection system. It is all about the deployment. It's about the training. It's about how many you deploy. It's about how many people you utilize at that system and how you get them in there. I can tell you that, and it's been said by Daryl, it's been said by Chief Stout, it's been said by several people. 99% of the time, we don't have a product problem. We have a people problem. So the pictures that you see where weapons detection systems were deployed and there's lines wrapped around the school because there's the kids can't get in and it's 9:30 and school's already started. It's more than likely a training problem. It was a product implementation problem, and it was a problem where maybe they needed more than one unit, right? So I had a high school that had, no, I'm not exaggerating, 42 external doors. You think we just had one unit on that campus? No, we had multiple units on that campus. So you've got to be able to do it. And so what we did I had 80 security officers across secondary schools, and it still wasn't enough staff to help with those. So we reached out to teachers and said, hey, we want volunteers. And the teachers came out and volunteered. We had a whole lot better response out of it than we ever thought we would, right? Because people in your schools, they want safe schools. They want those kids to be safe. They think that everything that we think is ridiculous, they believe it as well, right? And so they want all that. So my team spent 5 days with each campus before we moved to the next campus. We did an extremely slow implementation to make sure everybody understood it, how to work it, and how to do it. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go back to what Chief Stout said. I had a kid distract a security officer, and another kid walked around the system. Now, he was in my building about an hour, and somebody snitched on him, and he had a loaded 9mm on him. And so it goes back to the people. So you've got to have the people, even though we did everything absolutely correct that I thought, and that it worked for the most part. We had that issue where somebody got distracted. So they can be used, and I think that what Chief Stout's down there got with the multi-layered system that he got is great. But I think you also have to understand you got to have people to run that and people to help with that too. So schools can't just go out and just throw that stuff out there and say, "Hey, we got security," and walk away. It takes work.
We have our own police department, so the challenge with us was 36 more police officers due to TEA we have to have an armed security guard at every one of our campuses, including the elementary school. And that's a challenge in Corpus Christi. It's like it's a challenge to get technicians or anything else in Corpus Christi. It's a challenge, but we met that challenge. And it helps ease the public in general as far as what we're doing to keep our children safe.
I want to pinpoint this question. This is my wife. Most of y'all know my wife, but Chief Francis, I want you to take this question because we talk about sport venues, we talk about high school football games, track meetings, etc. I would think we would need weapon detection in those kind of environments, especially it's open to the public and you've got public coming into those games. But obviously my wife is referring to the Austin Metcalf shooting that happened in Frisco, just outside of DFW. I mean, is there any security in place for sports events like this or outside? I imagine we're going to put weapon detection, both concealed and visible, on the sports stadiums.
Yeah, if you haven't, to your point, we've been doing weapon detection since 2015-16, and it is a layered approach. We use a company, as mentioned earlier, with the cameras and also the walkthrough stuff. If you look at all the research, we've done such a good job in the K-12 world of securing our inner perimeter, our schools inside, and now it's pushing these threats out to our parking lots, our fields, and our stadiums. There's been a rash of the stadiums, so you have to have that secured layer, holistic layer in your stadiums, which includes your weapon detection and single point entry, etc., to help curb this battle.
I would agree completely. Just chime in there. We do weapon detection at all of our major sporting events, all of the all football games, basketball games, at the high school and secondary level or middle school level. All people entering go through weapon detection at all those events. And again, as Chief Francis said, you have to do the layered approach. But he's right. We've done a good job of securing the building, so things are coming from the outside at parking lots and at sporting events. And so we've got to bring the same logic and thought process that we have for the school setting to our sporting events.
Well, I mean, I've said this before, and Ron will laugh at this, and so will Chief and Daryl and Amanda and Chris. You guys have to do fire drills, right? Right. So why the hell are we not doing more active shooter drills? So. But again, that's a mandate. You would think there'd be a mandate around a weapon detection minimum, a access control minimum, analog to IP, having at least IP cameras minimum. Just basic stuff. So I can cry my soapbox, I can play my violin, but just my 2 cents there. But we got about 5 minutes, guys and girls. So I just want to wrap up this discussion. Obviously, it's Friday. I value everyone's time, but anything else that you think is important to mention around school safety and security for the rest of the school year? I know we're just starting the school year, but we're heading into obviously the holiday season, then obviously into 2026. Is there anything particular that needs to be brought up as far as the industry needs to do better of, or maybe something that you guys and girls are working on?
Taylor, if you don't mind.
Taylor, I was just
whoever wants to go first.
I was just going to add on to that previous discussion very briefly. I wouldn't want anybody listening to us talking about these challenges and thinking that we are not doing enough or that we can't do enough. I think everybody on this is doing absolutely everything we can with the budgets we have, with the resources and other abilities. But securing outdoor spaces, as they were mentioning, is extremely tough because you're not only trying to secure it when you actually are populated, but you're also trying to secure it when it's not populated, because things can be left behind, right? And so that's been, when you look at what we do for other types of venues, you have to have the teams that can also go through and sweep and look for things. And so again, it does you a fair amount of good to go ahead and control access and egress when it's a populated venue. But if these are outdoor or otherwise under secured venues, you still have those kind of risks. So again, it's not to say we can't properly secure these. It's just that I think that the public generally needs to know that they're going to have to kind of demand this and demand that more funding be made available, state, federal funding be made available, because again, a lot of times we're all doing the absolute best we can with the limited resources we have.
Hey, Taylor, just one quick point that I would like to make in closing. I think we've done, and of course I travel around the U.S. Talking about school safety and security, we've done a much better job in the K-12 world securing our campuses. What the low-hanging fruit, in my opinion, now is our private schools and our faith-based schools, and some are doing very well, but I think we're seeing, especially recently, where those are a little bit more of a low-hanging fruit and targets of opportunity, and I think they need to take the same approach in these as we've taken in our K-12 world.
Agreed.
And funding, the challenge for them. But the only other thing I could add that not too many people talk about, but it comes up with me, is battling between security and fire. So we have had a lot of issues with trying to secure a certain area and making it secure, but wait, you got to think about NFP 101, life safety code, all that other thing, and try and make it work between the two. So that does become a challenge as well, making sure that our certain areas can be secured, but yet still be safe for them to egress in case of a fire and things of that nature. So those are some things that we also work really hard at working out and making sure that everything works like it needs to.
Hey, I'll just end with, we already talked about, see something, say something, do something.
There you go.
Do something. I'll leave it with that.
Ron Self?
1958, brother. It's the last time a kid was killed in a fire in the United States. Come on.
And
We got to do better.
Yeah.
I will tell you this too: if you'll just sit down and have some conversations with your local fire department, you'll get a lot further than trying to argue with them. Is what I've found is they're usually pretty. They're willing to bend a little bit if you'll just have some conversations with them.
Amanda, close us out.
Oh, I don't even know. I'm sitting here thinking about how I'm going to make signs that Chief Stout told us: see something, say something, do something. I'm thinking of how I'm going to market that in our district. I really like that, and I appreciate you sharing it.
Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure this last hour with all you. I really genuinely appreciate the time, your expertise, etc. And yeah, I'm excited for to continue the journey with all you when it comes around school safety and security. Obviously, you guys can reach out to me anytime for education sharing, as well as yourselves. Please connect with each other on LinkedIn if you're not already, and share and collaborate, because I think that's what makes this industry better, is when end users speak with other end users, which obviously drives more innovation from the manufacturers that offer you products and lovely sales pitches. So it's been an honor, and everyone who's listening, again, this will be recorded and uploaded on the SVIP website. I do have my Experience Center QR code right there, so go check out that video. Looking for manufacturers to participate in that Experience Center. Going to be a crazy experience, but also an opportunity to, number one, highlight end users that you see on this discussion today, but number two, connect you directly to the greatest and latest innovations that come out of the security industry. Everyone have a safe and happy weekend, and we will all talk soon.
Very nice to see you.
Thanks.
Bye. Stay safe.
Yeah.